We all remember sailing in the Caribbean in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Sure, it wasn't your typical Assassin's Creed entry, but it was a damn good game if you wanted to go for that pirate experience. Although it wasn't the first game in the franchise to feature seafaring and naval combat, Black Flag was able to perfectly capture what it felt to be a swashbuckling pirate. It had everything from being able to upgrade your ship, raiding people across the seas, barrels and barrels of rum, and even being able to sing sea shanties with your crew. It was so good that Ubisoft actually announced that they were developing an expansion for Black Flag, which, due to some delays, turned into an MMO spin-off, and after even more delays, turned into a completely brand new IP. Fast forward a whopping 11 years of waiting, we finally got to play this quote-unquote quadruple A game, and it's painful to admit that we were left utterly disappointed. So join us here today as we give you our experience of Ubisoft's Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones opens with dropping you in a fight midway through a naval battle. It doesn't go well for you as your ship gets destroyed, resulting in you becoming a castaway. It's very similar to how Black Flag starts, by giving you a taste of the naval battles that's soon to come. After getting rescued, you find your way back to the nearest pirate cove, where you'll be given opportunities to rise back up the ranks and become the next pirate kingpin. It's a simple rags to riches premise that's easy to understand, though we do find it hard to get into the game world as it's kinda shallow. You don't get introduced to the surrounding factions, and the NPCs aren't all that interesting. It's difficult to get motivated to become the world's best pirate kingpin when the world itself is pretty dull. Similar to how Black Flag plays, combat centers around maneuvering and firing your cannons at the right time and angle. As far as core combat mechanics are concerned, it's still fun and engaging. Hey, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? They do include a lot of customization options to spice up the gameplay. Aside from the purely cosmetic options, you can change your cannons, furniture, armor, and even ship class. It's a good thing that with all this variety, the game allows you to make numerous ships for numerous builds, like a sturdier ship with slower cannons, or a support ship with long-range capabilities. All this gets even better when multiplayer gets taken into account, as fleet-on-fleet encounters become more varied. Sadly, combat and ship management seem to be the game's one and only strong suit. Skull and Bones doesn't even let you fight on foot, as defeated ships just require you to get close enough to trigger a boarding cinematic. Which is very unfortunate because fighting on the enemy ship was like one of the best parts of Black Flag. Also, when you compare to how you hunt animals then to now, you'll soon realize that Skull and Bones is less of a pirate life simulator and more of like one of those World of Tanks type of games. Aside from the combat, you don't really get to do much. Navigating and sailing the open seas is also pretty boring. There's a lot of empty areas where you just slowly pass by, which gets even worse when you find out that going full speed weirdly requires stamina. Sure, this can be realistic, but all it really does is slow down the game's pacing by making you slog your way from island to island. And it really doesn't help that this game uses a lot of loading screens. And once you're on one of the islands, you'll find that things are just getting worse. There really isn't much to do on these islands, as you'll find yourself just walking around and talking to boring NPCs. Gathering resources? Yeah, those are done through the ship, and how you get them is a little disappointing. It is worth noting that there are interesting bosses that you can fight in the endgame. However, getting there would mean spending a lot of time progressing through the boring parts of the game. At least from a visual standpoint, Skull and Bones does really well. The environments are detailed, where you can see every bit of furniture that you've placed on your ship. This is great, as the game offers a lot of customization options for you to buy and choose from. Although you can't enter every island, the coves that you can walk around in do look cool, especially when it comes to details like seeing old ships being turned into buildings and shops. Audio-wise, it's serviceable, the music is fine, and it fits into the whole pirate theme of the game. We just wish that sea shanties would happen more often, because you'll hear more of them shouting than singing. And as we previously mentioned, the NPCs in this game are a little boring. To be fair, their character models do look great. However, like certain Ubisoft games, their voice lines come off as one-dimensional and unnatural.
The company knows this, so they're squeezing us tighter.
Each of the vendors are pretty much interchangeable with one another, and even your pirate boss doesn't have anything wise to say. Because of this, the overall story of the game takes a dip in quality. After all, it's hard to have a good story with bad characters. If you're only in it for the naval combat and ship customization, then this game might be for you. But for others who are looking for that full pirate life simulator experience, there are other options out there. And though it was 11 years older, its predecessor, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, still did things better than this one, such as hunting and boarding enemy ships. And that's not even talking about the fact that was also an Assassin's Creed game with other gameplay elements to fulfill. Although some of these are things that they can implement on future updates, right now we're giving Skull and Bones a 6.8, as it just has so many red flags that make it very difficult to recommend. And that's our thoughts about Skull and Bones. What about you guys? What did you think about the game? Are there any pirate games you want to recommend? Tell us in the comments below. By the way, if you enjoy our videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. We also have an article version of this review that we linked in the description below. This has been Game8, signing off.